Hi, welcome to another episode of I Mustache You Something. And we are recording on March 2nd. We already posted the March 2nd podcast, which we recorded a week ago on February 23rd. And
My
it,
biggest regret, no, no, hold up. My biggest regret is I wasn't on that podcast to call the timeline. Because now it looks like I'm just like Monday day quarterbacking. But I like that much money in the Middle East at the time. I knew it was going to be any day. Plus, they want to get it wrapped up by midterms. I'm upset that I wasn't there to make a public call out that it was going to happen.
hold on a second. So, first of all, what we're talking about is the invasion of Iran or the bombing of Iran, whatever's you're gonna call it.
The six
Um,
dead Americans. Yeah, go on.
so what Ralph and I remember is Sharif saying this is what's going to happen, and now Mitch is saying that you
I,
also
I can't say it now. It's just Monday now. It just seems fake, so I can't say it. So
because it is fake.
because it's
right.
fake.
Well, no, that's yes, right. Exactly. It is fake. My assumption was it was going to happen
No, no,
very
no,
soon,
no, no,
but
no, no, no.
I wasn't on.
Sharif's assumption was that was going to happen. Your assumption was that, I don't know, something else.
Yeah, I didn't. I thought it was going to be. It shouldn't have happened. But the U.S. doesn't move that much money to anywhere without things happening. We
I,
don't move
I,
50% of our Air Force anywhere without it getting used.
well,
The
I,
issue is not whether it will happen or no, or it happen or no, is the magnitude, the extent.
Mm.
This is not like June. This will
No,
be.
well, we didn't move 50% of our Air Force and all you guys know those giant airplanes that look like they have a satellite on top. We moved
Yeah.
all but like three into the region. And as soon as it did, I was like, we are gonna go after its priority ASAP. We don't move that much money anywhere for no reason. But
When did they
it's
do that?
about a week and a half ago, this after Venezuela happened, about a week after that, they started moving two to three carrier groups. All the B-2 bombers headed over there. Like it was all build up, build up, build up. We don't move that $1 trillion worth of material into anywhere without it becoming a thing.
When Chuck Schumer said it's serious, that was
Yeah, whatever.
So Sharif, not Mitch.
Where's your
Sharif.
MAGA hat, Sharif? I
no,
expected
no,
a MAGA hat.
I'm not. I'm a Coptic boy. I identify only as Coptic now.
Make Coptic great again in America.
Make Natick great again.
Yeah, that has its own sort of connotations to it.
Okay.
So again, Sharif, not Mitch. Um, incredible call. Like literally, like I think Ralph and I were like, sure. I mean, like
well, I
maybe we
remember.
don't think so.
Well, I remember looking and I had Googled the poly market for before the end of February, and it was like 27%. And I think by the end of the year, it had been up to 78%. And I don't remember what what Sharif had said was going to happen if it was going to be before. It's all on tape somewhere. So I mean,
I
we
just listened
know.
to it. It was the craziest episode. You guys
Right, but like the timing
I
is,
screaming at my phone the entire time.
but like the time, like between us recording it and us posting it,
Right.
right? Like it all, like it became like obsolete, and like I guess, I mean, there's got to be something on YouTube that like tracks, right? So it's like verifiable that like
Right.
we
Right.
didn't just like, oh, like let's post it and let's pretend like, no, 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 like that was recorded a week ago.
Yeah.
And like Ralph and I don't like to look dumb. Like we're not going to play like these patsies that go, nah, I don't think that's going to happen. And
I
we're
don't
like,
think you guys were saying, at least from you guys weren't saying that it wasn't going to happen. You just didn't think it was a good course of action. And I
Yeah, I think
think,
so. That's
and
what
I
we were
remain
saying.
in
right.
that camp. Like I remain in the fact that for the United States, it's a bad course of action. And the three of you agreed, the two of you agreed, and Sharif was, no, it's a good course of action. And then at 20 minutes, 26 minutes, we took a hard left turn into because of the Pope. And I was like, wait, what? What happened? There's such, I'm so confused.
I missed that
Um,
part. So what was that about?
dude, at like 26 minutes, you guys took a hard left turn from like Iran to like the Pope, the Coptic Pope, and like this whole thing into like some weird schism I couldn't follow. But it was illuminary. What I think was the most interesting, where so I was in the camp of like this is a war for Israel, a war for Israel only. What Sharif opened my aperture to was the fact that it's it's theoretically possible that the Sunnis find Iran and its proxy so disgusting is the word I'm going to use, that it wasn't just supported just by Israel. Like it's had support from the other
Oh, yeah.
Sunni leading nations, and that's why we had enough. We feel like we had the head cover to go in and attack Iran. It wasn't just because Israel was like pounding on the table and Trump was weak. It's like that's true, but also the other Sunnis were like, yo, followers of Ali, whatever, they need to
Oh
go.
yeah,
Get
yeah,
them out of here. Like, let's take that down. And I think
yep.
that's an
Ali,
interesting what
Ali.
whatever fake. Uh, yeah,
All right.
no,
Well, let
I
me
think
ask
that's
you, Sharif. Let me ask you, since you are a resident Islamic scholar here, you should put on
Okay.
the mullah hat. All
No.
right. So now,
you and
doesn't
Rubio.
this then provide some kind of vacuum that Sunni Islam will fill? So, I mean, where you had the Sunnis and the Shia sort of fighting each other. Now, when you've taken Iran money out of Yemen and Lebanon and Israel and Syria, and then so don't the Sunnis then get stronger? And since we all know what the reality of, Islam is, we all have the history of that. Doesn't that then just, isn't that just going to go all blow back in our faces in, 30, 40 years?
So the difference between the Sunni extremist and the Shia extremist, the Sunni extremist had like Muslim Brotherhood has this idea of the mastership of the world. أستاذية العالم. We are the master, we are the professors. This is a pragmatic plan, not an eschatological plan and not an Armageddonian plan. So they can do deals, they can sit on tables, go back and forth. The Shia extremist is waiting for Al Mahdi, is waiting for Al Imam Al Ghaib, the cleric who disappeared in the clouds and coming back again to establish peace on earth before the Messiah comes again. Or
Yeah, but I mean, that's a distinction without a difference. I mean,
no,
you have a huge Islamic invasion of Europe happening as we speak. There's going to be more of an Islamic invasion of Europe as we speak. So I mean, whether they're
no.
expecting their own Messiah or whether they're taking over the world through, the petrodollar or,
No,
immigration and
there is
refugee
difference.
status, what's the difference to the end of it? To the rest of us, it's
One
no
can make
difference.
deals, one can make deals, one cannot make deals. One
Make
can
deals for what? Make deals for
Bro,
what?
bro. Do
let,
you
let's see this.
can we just I have a question and a comment. One,
Mm.
what sect has killed more Christians historically? Is my
Mhm.
first question. My second statement is, does not removing that anchor of Shia sect create essentially a pincer movement of like now Israel's surrounded by one sect, and every time that's happened in history, a pincer movement has happened that kind of collapses on Jerusalem in its center. So my first question is, who's killed more Christians? I I think we can easily say it's Sunni. It's not even really close. And then
Well, it depends on
Coptic
how
Christians,
you see it.
100%. Say again.
No, 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 no. We have been under Shia rule for 200 years. حاكم بأمر الله والشيعي. You know, this whole story about Mount of Muqattam happened during a Shia time, not a Sunni time. Actually, the worst persecutions were on, in my opinion, or the most bizarre persecutions were under the 300 years of Shia time. It's Saladin, Salah ad-Din, who ended the Shia rule and re-established the Sunni majority in Egypt.
Yeah, and he did it in a way, and then
In a way,
the followers
in a very aggressive way.
did it in a way, like
In a very aggressive way.
yeah, yeah.
So, historically speaking, you cannot really tell.
I think
Maybe in Egypt,
regardless,
yes, the Sunni are more.
I think
But
regardless, what came out for me as like a native-born American is that the at least it felt like this, that the pain of the Coptics ancestors by just the region entirely was coming out from you, Sharif, deeply. And your like need or fear or desire to have this group neutralized and come kind of like Oman almost. And I felt that. But again, as an American, I cannot see any benefit today from there being a decapitated Iran for
so
Americans' interests.
we
Yeah.
have two things. One is the vacuum, and one is removing the pins. The vacuum, when you're removing the Malali system, you're not removing the whole Shia in the world. You will have a very good percentage of Shia in Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Yemen, but not under this Armageddonic effect, or not on this totally brainwashed effect. For a while, 50, 100, 150 years, I don't know. So that's one thing for the vacuum. The other thing is the pins around Israel. It will not be one sect, because now we have Saudi Arabia super modernized. MBS is revamping the whole clerical control of Saudi Arabia. You have Turkey who want to sit for a deal. So I don't think you remove the pins around Israel, Jerusalem in particular. Again, if you are sensing that I'm talking as a Coptic Christian that want to neutralize this, no, I'm talking a little bit more about Hitler, about the Nazis.
You keep going to that tired analogy
No.
that is 100 years. You beat the dead horse for 100 years.
Well, hold up, because like
Who
I
is
think
worse, Stalin or Hitler? Who
Stalin.
is worse?
Stalin.
It's not even
No,
close.
no.
Stalin,
It's
are
not
you
even,
kidding me? He killed 50 million of his own people. What are you talking
it's not
about,
even close,
man?
dude.
He
The
didn't.
rape of Romania, man. There, like, I would have rather. I'm not. Yeah, there's no way. That's the least as like a Christian in Romania under Stalin. There is no play. I'd rather be dead. I mean, like
Yeah,
that's period. And he did that. That was
we know,
systematic destruction of the Christians in that country, and I would rather
we
be
know,
dead.
we know all the stories about this, and they're legit stories. The massacre, genocide of Christian under the Soviet Union. But there is a difference. Stalin is evil. Hitler is crazy.
I,
Stalin was not crazy. Stalin
So
was
I
not.
think that what we're leaving out is the drug usage. I think that plays a key role in what made the Reich the Reich. And the drug usage caused the absolute depravity, which was absent mostly in Stalin. So I think it's a fair point. Like the methamphetamine usage caused a level of insanity during in that country that wasn't there. So you're talking about like there were wild cards. It wasn't
You read
systematic
Blitz?
evil. It was,
Did you
of
read Blitz?
course, it's
Yeah, it's
one
a
of the
great
best
book.
books ever written.
Yeah.
So
Um,
here's what I'm coming from,
yeah.
and you can argue, agree or disagree. It's this idea of I am inspired to do whatever I want,
Mm,
and I am protected to do whatever I want. So I don't need to go for negotiation. I don't need to make deals. I'll continue to do whatever I want.
mm.
So
Wait, are we describing Israel or Iran? I'm confused. I'm teasing, teasing, teasing.
What?
So I said,
Oh,
are we talking about Israel or Iran? I said I was
jeez.
No,
teasing,
no,
teasing,
no.
teasing.
Oh,
Oh,
I don't know
oh.
if you're
Well,
teasing. That's true though.
well, that,
but it's different. It
well,
is different. It is different because one is a nation state acting like they with impunity, and one is a nation state driven strictly and solely by this very few secular folks in Iran driving foreign policy. I think that's a fair distinction.
yeah, that's it.
You're
And
obviously not a
there
Christian
is a
Zionist.
lot of science in Israel. There is almost no scientific mind in Iran.
Yeah.
That's a very, very, very big distinction.
I don't know. So in the world, it had happened. We are where we are. 6 Americans lie dead, um, and 18 or 20 more injured. We're running out of missiles to protect ourselves because we're giving them to the region. I think there's no question that America is weaker today than it was a week ago as far as just military might.
Disagree.
Okay.
Well, I think you're going too far now, Mitch. I mean, it's just with,
Oh,
I
am
think,
I? Do you think
yeah,
do you think we make missiles well in the United States? Do you think it's easy in Alabama to build these things? Do you think
no,
Northrop Grumman and
no,
Lockheed Martin spin these things out at the rate we did even in the 80s? The
At
answer to those
least,
is
at least
no.
we can
definitely
make
not easy.
more than the rest of the world. Like,
Definitely not easy. But we got more aircraft carriers than the world combined. I mean, we're not that bad. We're not that bad. You know, we're not that bad. And to say we're weaker today than we were a week
We
ago,
100%. Yeah. In terms of just raw military force, we are weaker today than we were then.
that's
And also,
just
yeah,
ridiculous. That's
how and
almost as
why?
bad as Cherif saying is Adolf Hitler is in Iran. That's almost it's like
I mean,
two
my wait,
it's like two
I just by
extremes.
raw numbers, Ross, we are have less ammunition today and the ability to defend our borders than we did a week ago. I don't like that's a true statement.
that we have the full European Union, the full Gulf in our back. What are you talking
We
about?
had that a week ago.
No, we didn't have this a week ago. Saudi Arabia, Emirates were kind of, if you hit them, okay, but if you don't do it, okay. But now all of those big dollars are with us.
We got
So,
every nuclear weapon still sitting exactly where it is. We're fine. We're no one is coming on our shores. Maybe Canada's a little upset, but that's I think we can, have them euthanize themselves into oblivion. So I mean, I
and,
think we're
and
fine.
guess
Are you
what?
confident Israel is the only
Russia
country with
and
nuclear
China
missiles in the Middle
didn't
East?
react.
Wait. Question. Or do we think that Israel is the only country with nuclear missiles in the Middle East?
Well, Pakistan, if you is far east, or like what they call it, Near East. But
I
all Arab
I
countries, they don't have nuclear weapons.
I
That's
just think that that our military leadership has a limited span to think, and when they're thinking about one thing that isn't America first, which clearly this isn't, we're taking eye off the ball of where we could be doing, like putting our resources, like also the amount of money you spent, like th- not for nothing. This isn't cheap. This isn't a few dollars and cents of our budget going to
MBS
this.
will pay back. MBS will
Listen,
pay back.
listen, Tucker. While Tucker Carlson, Mitch is
Go
more
ahead.
Tucker
Go ahead.
Carlson. While I agree with you that this is not a good move, and while I agree with you that this is not America first, and while I agree with you that we shouldn't have done this, um, your sort of, sky is falling attitude is just
I didn't
is the
say
flip
that.
side is the flip side. What do you mean you didn't say it?
It's
You
different
said
to
we
saying
got
we
no
are
weapons.
weak
We're
is
less
different than saying
secure.
wait, time out. Saying we are weaker today than we were a week ago is not saying we are weak. We're still the global empire. We still have more nuclear missiles. We have the best the military in the world. All those things are absolutely true. But to say that we are somehow stronger today than we were a week ago, I think is a little Pollyannish.
Just
So,
by the show of force, just by what America has been able to do, and Israel, I guess, too, has been able to do to sort of basically, take over a whole region in 2 days. And I think the Straits of Hormuz are still they
Yeah.
knocked down all their navy. We're definitely a lot like, is China going to go into Taiwan today? They may have gone a week ago. They ain't going today because they ain't got no oil.
The
So
only argument I'll accept in refutation to mine is that we were able to test our one-way drones and they were extremely successful. So I think if that's the argument that we were able to test our one-way drones and get some real live action on them, and we were to do a good proof of concept in our live war, then I think that yes, then I'm wrong.
So,
Actually, I'll argue against myself. In that
we,
so
case,
we
wrong.
after 3 days of hitting one of the strongest allies of Russia and China
yeah,
without a single response from
exactly.
Russia and China, who is strong, who is getting stronger a minute after the other.
Well, Sharif, you're wrong. They sent very, very sternly worded emails to the UN.
They did.
And
There's a lot of
so,
finger wagging.
so there's no, yeah, Sharif's point is
We're still going to be in the Olympics in 2 years. I think
Sharif,
that's a fair point.
Sharif's
No,
right
no,
on
we
the
said
thing.
something. We said that wasn't nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sharif's
Yes.
point,
Yes.
Sharif's point demonstrates that we're stronger, is because there's nothing that everyone thought, they had all these pacts internally, amongst themselves, and they just said, well, you're in this alone, guys. So there's no way we are weaker today than we were. I think we're stronger today. If just by perception, and perception's reality, if just by the world's perception of what America can do,
I
we're
hope
definitely.
you're right. I hope you're right. I don't know if that's worth the Americans that died and who are injured. I would argue no.
Yeah, I
I'm
agree
anti.
with you on that. I agree
But
with
again,
you.
to argue against myself, if the fact that if you're saying, Mitch, we are able to test one-way drones, and that proves that we are currently up to like the peak standard of what future war is going to look like, you're right, and I'm wrong. But arguing like we're better because we ever took over, like everyone knew, every carrier group can take over a nation. Like we've known that for
No,
20, 30
no,
years.
no.
The actual argument is, Mitch, our military capabilities have been tested and proven very successful, which is the future, which is drones. And I think that's a fair, and Anthropic's AI on top of it. I think that's a fair argument.
All
Well,
right,
anyway,
here's
we're kind of off where what's the question for the week?
are there
With
are
13
there
minutes left.
American boots on the ground by Easter in Iran? Sharif, yes or no?
No, Egyptian, Saudi,
Oh,
Emirati,
so there's going to be military that's not Iranian in Iran.
under UN, under Peace Corps, under whatever.
And what do you guys think?
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everything is tit tat micro in the short term. And what I was thinking about is the long term, not necessarily eschatological in terms of like end of times, but the the sort of the natural resolution of all this, where you look at the short term, and the short term is, you know, I had 200,000 bombs, and now I have 180,000 bombs, and I used 20,000 bombs, and now I'm weaker. But those 20,000 bombs got me this social political capital, this flex. The people that liked the fact that I used those 20,000 bombs are going to give me more bombs or more money to send more, people to make bombs. Um, and I think that is very similar to like middle school where like, like, oh, that was a great comeback, bro. And to a certain extent, we never outgrow middle school. Um, and I wish we could go back to elementary school where everybody kind of got along instead of the sort of loss of innocence that happens in middle school and then like, adult middle school and never quite being as inclusive, welcoming, kind as we were before that loss of innocence. So things that I heard that, I naively, I'm not saying this is the right perspective, but naively, I don't think there's a difference between Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. And I don't think that Christians, if they were in Israel's position, wouldn't act similarly. I don't think that if Egyptians were flipped in terms of the Christian Muslim demographic, that if we were the majority, we wouldn't be the ones persecuting the Muslims. Um,
No, they persecute the Protestants.
well, the idea that like the majority persecutes the minority is a tried and true human thing. Like you saw it in its worst forms in Serbia. So again, like I'm gonna say I'm not dying on that hill of like, is this naive? Is this Is there a real difference? Is there like theological basis?
Wait, wait,
I
wait. What are you what whoa, 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 whoa. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What you're saying you're, we
Yes,
live in the
I'm
we live
saying
in the
that
United States of America, which is a majority, at least nominal Christian country. We ain't persecuting anybody. We're not hanging any. What are you talking about? Like how can you just whitewash the differences between Islam and Christianity, or how is that?
I see it more as a cultural
Oh, so you're
phenomenon
talking
than
about Arab. You're talking about Arab Christians and Middle Eastern
well, no,
Christians,
it's not even that.
Egyptian
It's
Christians.
because
Wait,
Arab
wait.
also is going to be like the Arab invasion was a Islamic thing. Yeah, yes,
I
Mitch.
don't think you can separate culture from religious
Right.
roots.
Yeah.
So let me tell you something, if I may intercept. So there is a great Antiochian Orthodox thinker, Metropolitan George Khodr, 103 years now. So he was visiting us in Alexandria, and we went to the museum. And in the floor of Islamic art, all is weapon, artillery, whatever, whatever. And the floor of the Coptic art, all are icons and stuff. And the guy, like was Christian, said, "See, Sayyidina, like we are all icons and they are all weapons." Said, "Yeah, because we didn't have the chance to wear the weapon yet." And this is a guy who suffered from the civil war in Lebanon, like a lot. So the environment in the Middle East or wherever in non-progressive countries like the States will allow any majority to persecute the minority. Like, look how we as Coptic Orthodox
That's only
are.
because of Islam. Like you're you're
No,
you're
no,
you're
no.
you're reading out of 1,400 years of history, the actual ruling culture of that whole area, which has been a culture of the sword. That
What
hasn't
about
been,
Chalcedonian and non-Chalcedonian?
Or I think a better argument is
but that's all
Christian
that's all
Europe and the
barbarian.
pogroms against the Jews, I think is a salient fact here.
Well,
Um,
Protestant and Catholic in Ireland. Uh,
I think that's a whole
That's political.
we can go down that rabbit hole if you want.
And
But I think a
that's why I said like
but
forgive me if like, oh, I'm naive or I
I
don't.
I would
Okay.
say at that you need to look at like the ideals of each group, and the ideals of Christianity teaches is we don't persecute minorities. We don't live up to our ideals. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not a scholar of Islam, but is the ideal of Islam to not persecute the minority? It's a question an open question I have.
No,
no,
And
that's
I
Christians,
and to be fair, to bring cops
Christians
up,
repented. Christians repent.
oh, yeah. I just the more I read about the Crusades, because this time period makes me think about the Crusades so much. The amount of like tit for tat, like every time the Templars would do anything, the Caliph in Cairo would just go around and just murder cops, just straight up, like just eviscerate. cops sawing people in half, et cetera, et cetera. Anytime anyone, every time they won or lost, like it was the amount of pain and suffering due to the Crusades the cops experience is mind-boggling.
So what I think is that at some point one of two things is going to happen, and I think it's just a matter of time. Either we uh have mutual annihilation, or like, it's just like everybody goes to the principal's office and everybody gets expelled and we're done. Or we realize, hey, the answer isn't this tit for tat, and I'm gonna get you before you get me. And this is to Sharif's point earlier. If there isn't this sort of like divine mandate of like, my deity told me to kill everybody, regardless of whether you're a Christian or Muslim or Hindu or whatever. Everybody, everybody had a little birdie of not holiness. Speak in the name of holiness and say, annihilate whoever. And at some point, I hope that we start realizing, you know what? If you want to cheat everybody and you want to like steal money or like, you know, embezzle funds or like, end up on the Epstein files or, what have you. All of these things are not great, but at least these are preferable, like these sort of like moral vices or um, uh, improprieties. Let's just stick to that stuff. But let's put this whole war thing aside and let's not do that anymore because it sucks for everybody. And I don't know, like, and again, I don't think that question is going to be answered in our lifetime or our kids' lifetime. And I hope that it's not just like this apocalyptic thing where it really does end up being not just a, you know, thing that works itself out or, but it ends up actually being eschatological where like the world ends with something like this. I hope it is the second one where people kind of go, you know what, like what are the long-term implications of, going to war, and doing the things that we're doing? Like, does it really solve anything, or is it just another cycle of we got you this time, see you, what somebody that I work with used to say, they got us in the washer, we'll get them in the dryer, something like that.
Well, I think this war will buy 50 to 100 years of kind of stabilization. But the cycle will repeat itself for sure.
I hope at some point, like if our knowledge, our awareness, our information sharing, diplomacy, things that we can do today that we couldn't do even 30 years ago. I'm hoping, and I think every time period thinks it's like, sort of like the pinnacle of civilization, right? Like, the Romans thought they were the pinnacle of civilization, and the Arabs thought they were the pinnacle, and then the Mongol, like everybody thought like, we're it. And I think hopefully the information age that really has just begun, it's just in its infancy. When it's not, you know, 30 years after the internet, but 300 years after the internet, like we have enough institutional awareness that is not St. Mark's Natick or the Coptic Church or Christianity, but we have an institutional awareness as Earth that we're able to say like, hey, we've done this before, time out. Like, this is dumb. Let's put this aside. Nothing good in the long term happens. So the strategic long-term planning is done at this sort of universal level rather than like a local level. So we got a minute left. I think Sharif gets no, Mitch gets the final question, and then Sharif gets the final answer.
No, no. I just wanted to answer Ross's question. Is I think we're gonna have American boots on the ground in the next 6 months in Iran.
Sharif, any final wisdom predictions? You want to take a victory lap?
Lebanon.
Oh, that's right. You texted me earlier. You think they're going
That's what
into
will happen in
Lebanon.
Lebanon in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. All right. Are we recording another one now, or are we waiting a
No,
week for your prediction to happen?
let's wait a little bit.
All right, friends. Well, thank you for tuning in to another episode of I Mustache You Something.
Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Bye bye.